There is so much breaking legal news right now, but the thing that everyone seems the most riveted by is the Luigi Mangione case. So let's talk about it. I'm Eliza Orland's career public defender for 15 years in Manhattan. In case you somehow missed it, Luigi was perp walked into New York City yesterday with tons of law enforcement, with New York City Mayor Eric Adams present. Let's start by looking at this New York State indictment, and then we can talk about what it means. This is the case of the people of the state of New York versus Luigi Mangione. The grand jury of the county of New York, by this indictment, accuses the defendant of the crime of murder in the first degree in violation of penal law section blah, 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 committed as follows. The defendant in the county of New York on about December 4th, 2024, being more than 18 years old at the time of the commission of the crime, with intent to cause the death of another person, caused the death of Brian Thompson, and said person was killed in furtherance of an act of terrorism involving a violent act and acts dangerous to human life that were in violation of the criminal laws of this state and were intended to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, influence the policies of government by intimidation or coercion, and affect the conduct of a unit of government by murder, assassination, or kidnapping. Second count, and the grand jury aforesaid by this indictment further accuses the defendant of the crime of murder in the second degree as a crime of terrorism in violation of Penal Law 125-25 sub 1 and 490-25 committed as follows. The defendant in the county of New York on or about December 4th, 2024, with intent to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, influence the policy of a unit of government by intimidation or coercion, and affect the conduct of a unit of government by murder, assassination, or kidnapping, committed the specified offense of murder in the second degree in that defendant with intent to, I think they mean cause, the death of another person, cause the death of Brian Thompson. Third count, the grand jury by this indictment accuses the defendant of murder in the second degree, 125-25 sub 1, on or about December 4th with intent to cause the death of another person, cause the death of Brian Thompson. Fourth count accuses the defendant of the crime of criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree, an armed felony, in that he possessed a loaded firearm with intent to use the same unlawfully against another person. Fifth count, criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree, on or about December 4th, possessed a loaded firearm, possession not being in the defendant's home or place of business. Sixth count, possessed an assault weapon, that's criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree. Seventh count, criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree, possessed a firearm silencer. Eighth count, criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree, possessed a large capacity ammunition feeding device, to wit, a Glock magazine. Ninth count, criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree, possessed a large capacity ammunition feeding device, to wit, a Magpul magazine. 10th count, possession of a weapon in the fourth degree, not being licensed as a gunsmith or dealer in firearms, and knowing that it was a ghost gun, possessed a ghost gun. Finally, 11th count, criminal possession of a forged instrument in the second degree, on or about November 24th, 2024, the instrument to be forged and with intent to defraud, deceive, and injure another, uttered and possessed a forged instrument, the same being and purporting to be, and calculated to become, to represent, if completed, a written instrument officially issued and created by a public office, public servant, and governmental instrumentality, to wit, a New Jersey driver's license. And then you can see all the counts below, signed by Alvin Bragg and the grand jury true bill. And I want to read you the definition of act of terrorism before we get into it. Under sub B, which is what it's referencing for the purposes of subdivision 1 of section 125-27, that's the murder statute, means activities that involve violent act or acts dangerous to human life that are in violation of the criminal laws of this state that are intended to, 1, intimidate or coerce a civilian population, 2, influence the policy of a unit of government by intimidation or coercion, or 3, affect the conduct of a unit of government by murder, assassination, or kidnapping. First and foremost, when discussing this case, I want to remind everyone that Luigi Mangione is presumed innocent. He has not been proven guilty of anything. These are mere accusations and allegations, and when we talk about this, we should presume him innocent, first and foremost. But second of all, even if he did everything he's purported to have done, even if everything alleged is true, it is still hard to comprehend how the targeted killing of a healthcare CEO would be considered an act of terrorism. In order to prove this up, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office would need to prove that this is an act that intimidates or coerces a civilian population. I just don't see how they're ever going to be able to do that. But you know what? This isn't out of the ordinary. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office routinely overcharges cases and overreaches and tries to charge things that they cannot prove in order to either coerce a plea bargain to a lesser offense or to convince a jury to, oh, well, we'll just convict on something lesser. This has not worked out for them lately, but we'll see what happens, and I'll keep you posted as this case progresses. Please make sure you're following along for more and leave questions in the comments.